Hi, welcome to webinar, yeah? Alright, so I can see that there are many people trying to join in here, but maybe you can allow 1 minute buffer and we'll start sharp later. And quick survey here. Anyone from northern part of Malaysia, you can type 111 in the chat box. From Penang, from Perak, Kedah. Oh, okay. You can see Susan, Ahmad, and Mr. Zahiro, okay, from Northern Part, welcome, yeah. All right, second one, anyone from Central Region? Type 222 in the chat box. Okay, wow, quite a number from Central Region also, okay, welcome. And then anyone from Southern Part? Johor, JB, and Sinkish, Singaporean investors, anyone? Oh, okay, seems like we have a Singaporean in-house tonight. And then lastly, Borneo, East Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak, Bruneian investors. Okay, welcome. Alright, so I think it's about time we can start already. So before we start our webinar, maybe I'll introduce ourselves first. As you can see from the slide here, on the right hand side is my partner Mike Lau, smiling brightly to all of you, yeah. And then I'm the one that actually on the left hand side, Wayne Wee here. So I will share a short clip about us and who we are, and you can know more about us from that video.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Hi, I'm Wayne.
We have helped more than 300 plus investors to find the right property investment in Kuala Lumpur.
We'll help you understand about the property market in Kuala Lumpur, and we believe you'll gain valuable insights from our webinar today. Hope you enjoy. Alright, welcome back. I hope that you know better about us already, yeah? So without further ado, we'll move on to our webinar today. Alright, so actually this webinar, it comprises of 4 parts, which I'll break down to it so that you can absorb better. So the first part is mainly talking about the pitfalls, the mistakes that investors often face, and what are the things that we should avoid. And then the second part is to compare about the current rental strategies, the goods and the bads. And then thirdly, I think this is the most favorite part of all of you, the projects review, which one to choose. And then lastly, what is actually this new rental strategy? But before that, I'd like to let you all know that we do offer a one-to-one discussion session, because for this session, right, to be honest, we didn't expect there are so many participants today, 120 packs here. So most likely I'll miss out some questions. I apologize first, but if you have any questions that we didn't answer you, you can just register a one-to-one, and then meanwhile, if you have any question, you can just put it at the bottom right there. There's a chat box to our admin. Mike or me will attend to you if we see your questions, yeah. But again, don't worry, if you missed out, just PM one-to-one discussion to us. Okay, alright, so I'll show you a tutorial about our registration for this one-to-one first. Enjoy.
So in order for you to register the one-on-one private preview session is pretty simple. You can see on your right hand side there's a comment box here, and then at the bottom of it, right, you shall be able to see the green color small box stated click here for one-to-one. So you can just click on the button here, and sometimes when it doesn't pop up, right, it should be hiding somewhere. So you will be able to find the small arrow here pointing upwards at the bottom right. So you can click on it and then it shall be able to pop up. Alternatively, right, you also can see on your top here there's a yellow box stated register your one-to-one session here. So at the bottom of this line, right, you shall be able to see the blue color highlight. Just click on it, and then once you press continue, you'll be able to see the calendar like this one, and then you can just choose the date that you prefer. For example, you prefer Friday 30th of May, right? And then you can just choose the time available here. For example, you prefer 4 p.m. so you just press confirm. So once you press confirm, right, just wait for a while, about 3 to 5 seconds, you should be able to see this page. So once you see this page, right, it means that you already successful register your one-on-one sessions.
Alright, so welcome back. So let's start. So the first common mistakes that often investors face is they thought that big size of the layout in fact giving you very big returns. So any investors that invested in a big layout, they are making a good investment? Anyone? Alright, I can see Mr. Ahmad. My layout is 3 bedrooms, 1,200 square feet, but then every month is bleeding. Wow, whoops, very sorry to see this. But Mr. Ahmad, which location invested in? In Cheras area. I see. But in fact, Cheras is quite a big area, so it depends on which part lah. But I believe usually you fetch bleeding every month this kind of investment probably in the southern part of Cheras lah. Not much working opportunities and not much tourists and all this. But okay, maybe before that, we can touch more on the point first lah, and then we'll chit chat later. So alright, usually big size, right? We do require a higher capital. Because imagine, let's say you're investing in the city center, the place with the most human traffic there, easily will cost you about 2,000 ringgit per square feet. So, taking for example, 1,000 square feet you multiply with 2,000 ringgit per square feet, that will cost you about 2 million ringgit already. So, assuming 2 million ringgit, how much is your installment based on the longest tenure? More than 1,000 already. But I don't think that based on current market rate, you can in fact fetch such high rental that cover your installment. So that actually reflects the second point, fixed rental. And then second thing is 1,000 square feet and 1,002 square feet. In fact, is there a big difference between these two layout for your rental? Anyone from the floor? Maybe you can share us your experience. Okay. Right, I can see Albert saying, my unit is 1,001. My neighbor 1,003, but then rental more or less the same. Yeah lah, but sometimes also depends on location lah. But I think the most important part is about when you have a bigger size, right? You require more maintenance work lor. The first thing is your maintenance fee, and then sometimes you have to renovate your rooms. Let's say your tenants move out, right? You still have to do some touch-up work lah. So that will cost quite some amount lor. And then second thing is, this is the biggest misconception of most of the investors lah. Alright, cheapest, is it the best? Anyone from the floor maybe can share experience? Okay, Miss Tan. Cheap is not necessarily the best, but can get the cheapest, of course, the best lah. Yes, definitely lah. But of course lah, I mean, the whole intention of having this webinar today is to help all the investors finding the right property instead of finding the cheapest property, right? So usually we have to try to find out why is that property is the cheapest in that specific location. First thing first, based on our experience, is maybe the developer is rather new to the industry and they also like to kick off the development sales, which is why they are giving a higher rebate law. So this is one of the many factors. And then the second thing is very common, I would say, the location is not as strategic as the others law. Far from the amenities, maybe not near to the public transport, far away from the eateries and all these things. And then thirdly, the density will be relatively high as compared to other developments, because imagine a piece of land. For the developer perspective, if they build the whole building, they are expecting to earn 500 million. Imagine if they build a smaller unit and then higher volume, then they can only fetch a higher revenue. So that's how the so-called cheapest property comes into the market. All right. So the third thing is, all right, maybe this one we can have more interaction with our audience here tonight lah. So anyone invested in maybe a long run property or Airbnb property and have so-called hassles from the tenants? Okay, I can see Mr. Zahiru. My tenant sometimes pay rent on time, sometimes did not pay, family issue. Yeah, I think usually that one is happens to those long-term rental property. Okay, and then okay, I can see Siva, Dr. Siva. Okay, damage to my property, very kaulat. Okay, oops, sorry to hear that. May I know which location they invested property in, Mr. Dr. Siva? Okay, running in Sungai Besi area. Unit always not well maintained. Airbnb or long rent, yeah? Oh, Airbnb long rent. Okay, leave it to operator and invest. Okay, and manage lah. I see. Yeah, because usually this kind like short-term renting or mid-term renting also very depending on the performance of the operator. Yeah. Okay. And then utilities bills not paid. Anyone face this issue before from your tenants? Oh, very common lah, Wayne. Okay, oops, sorry to hear this, but I hope that today's session can help all of us lah to understand better on which rental strategy that can help you to maximize your profit also, yeah? Alright, so mistake number 4. Anyone running Airbnb business, engaging an operator that helps you? Oh, yes. Okay. I see there are quite many people invested in Airbnb property. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but usually for those that just join in property investment market, right? Maybe I can share something with you all. For those that experience, bear with us. Yeah. So the first thing we have to choose an operator is whether they are experienced. Do they know their thing in the market? Like sometimes some new operators, right, they just join in, they thought that, okay, I'll just take a unit from owner and then run the business can already. But in fact, for Airbnb, this kind of investment strategy, right, requires a lot of experience, because you have to know when is the public holiday, when to mark up your daily rental, and then when is the off-peak and peak season, which is why some operator, they can survive in the industry for many years. Some, I think most of them, I think 80% couldn't get through 3 years. So if you have any operators that can make it over 3 years, then we can say thank you already. Very appreciated. So and then the second thing is whether your operator is genuine or not, because some of my clients they purchase all those Airbnb property and engage a third-party operator, and then the issue they face is the operator told them that they need to fork out an amount just for the renovation costing. Yeah, and then after that they say that once you do this reno, we will help you to fetch about 90% occupancy, give you ROI about 12% to 15% per annum lah. But then in fact, after they did all the renovation work, right, they don't really put in much effort in the renting part, which this is very common in the market, because that's where they earn the most money from. So this one you have to be very careful. And then the second thing is you got to make sure that the whole collaboration between the operator and the owner is transparent. That means you need to monitor your so-called daily occupancy, and then make sure there's a monthly financial statement offered by the operator, so at least you can trace back whether it is true or not. And then the third thing is choosing the right operator is very important, especially you got to choose those well-known in the industry one. So there are fews in the market. Talking about Airbnb operator Maple Home is one of the well-known one, and then the other one is called Purple Orchid. So those in KL, I think you all seen these names before all right. So today's intention, right, is not just to share about how to look for a money-making property only. So in fact, we have to break down what's the formula. So most people think that, okay, money-making, I find a good location and then I find the cheapest price, just like how we buy stock But of course, we also need to find out the background. This money-making property, whether it is in a good location, is it the right time to enter with the right price? And then based on the market demand there, the audience there, we pick a right layout, and then most importantly, using a right rental strategy. So speaking of the rental strategy, any investors season one know there are how many strategy in the market at the moment? Okay, 2, 3. Okay. I think most of you are very familiar with the market. Yeah. So in fact, there are 3. So we start with the long rent first So in fact, long rent and the other one that I will cover later is called co-living. They are most likely the same thing. Easy to manage provided that you have good tenants, and then of course because the rental rate, right, is based on monthly one, and then you sign a yearly tenancy agreement, so that means that will be stable and consistent. But again, it's actually a double-edged sword, which will bring you a lower rental yield as compared to Airbnb property, and there will be a risk of that the tenant not paying you the rental, drag your rental, all this kind of thing So same goes to co-living. So co-living, the only difference between whole unit rent out is whole unit, you rent to one tenant. Co-living, you rent out to multiple tenants. But then, in fact, all the mechanism, right, the back-end things is in fact the same one. But you have to pick the right location. And then the third thing is you gotta monitor the transition period between the old and new tenants. There will be an empty window. So this is one of the risks of doing this co-living. But in fact, if you choose the right place like PJ, Damansara, Mid Valley, or perhaps Bukit Jalil, this kind of places, then the risk will be lower down to a certain level already, because those places usually crowded with all those working adults or sometimes students, or recently especially in Mid Valley area, it's crowded by this China student from So picking a right place is very important also. So yeah, Short rent, Airbnb, definitely the highest ROI in the market for now. And then, as we know, the tenants usually one time off lah, so they'll come to stay 1 night, 2 night, or usually maximum a week. So less hassles. And then even for owners that want to have those kind of flexibility, you can just stay there when it's vacant. And then you can just choose also whether you want to rent out for days or months lah. It's up to you. But then of course there's also a setback lah. It requires a high renovation cost. This one is something that you need to talk with your operator lah, whether like how much projection in terms of the rental forecast you want, and then what kind of renovation you want. And then secondly, it's very dependent on the operator's performance though. Need to find the experienced one. And then this is I would say the highest wear and tear rental strategy among all lah, because imagine daily basis, different tenant in and out, even for your door open and close also more than the usage as compared to long rent and co-living. So this is something to take note. And then lastly is make sure that your profit sharing scheme is always transparent, because in the market the profit sharing usually dictates by the operator lah. They just tell the owner, okay, Mr. A, Mr. B, or Miss C or Miss D, this month we are making how much, this is it. But in fact, there are some operators that those with good system in the back end can show you all the finance statement. So this is a kind of the operator that we would like to engage with all right. Okay, so summary for unit rental in terms of the whole unit and the room rent, usually they are most likely the same, like I mentioned earlier. It's just that the ROI for the whole unit will be slightly lower as compared to co-living. And then the manageability, I would say I give 3-star to a whole unit lah, because you just rent out and don't have to worry already. But co-living, you have to manage multiple tenants. So imagine sometimes if they quarrel, then you have to be the middleman also. And then third thing is the protection. For whole unit rental, because you only see your unit once a year, so you're not gonna like monitor the condition inside. So I would say that this is the lowest protection, and usually I believe most of the investors, they did not buy the so-called insurance to protect your whole new unit rental. So same goes to co-living. And then the good thing is the stability. I would say 5-star, very stable, as long as your tenants pay you every month on time. And then moving on to Airbnb, all right, short-term rental, highest ROI, manageability, depending on your operator. Protection, yes, because most of the operator, they will purchase the insurance to cover our unit one. And then stability, this one I would say yes and no lah. Depends on location, depends on season. Usually when we meet those peak season, very lucrative, but during the off-peak, you have to prepare for the rainy days also lah. So sometimes when we are projecting the so-called rental forecast for Airbnb or short rent property, right, we will take a whole year one from January to December, so you know what to expect when you average out the profit. All right. And then lastly, new rental strategy. Okay, this is something that is very interesting, which in fact adopted the so-called ROI from Airbnb, but not 5-star, I would say 4-star. And then manageability, the highest among all, I would say. Hassle-free. Protection, yes, maximum. Stability, also okay. But this one, stay till the end. We'll cover this later. We'll discuss about how the rental model works and which project is in fact suitable for this kind of investment strategy, which location, and how do we evaluate the risk, like what are the things that we're going to face if you choose this. And then lastly is how does this investment works. I believe most of the investors, the reason why you attend this webinar is to know more about this, right? So don't worry, stay to the end, we'll cover this. Alright, so moving on to the next part. Let's review all the projects in KL City Centre, or the so-called Golden Triangle lah. But based on the advertisement, we advertise that there are 11 projects, right? But don't worry, today we're giving it extra 12 plus 3 bonus project. Yeah, for some of the investors, they are interested in maybe fast completion or completed project. Today is your day, okay? Alright, but before we start, right, before we dive in, we're going to make sure where are these places exactly. Every time when we see advertisement, Kuala Lumpur City Centre, KLCC, walking distance 2 minutes, 3 minutes, Bukit Bintang lah, TRX, but do you all know where exactly these places are? Yeah, this is the things that we found out lah. So there are many investors, in fact, especially from outstations or other countries, they don't really know. So me and my team, together with Mike also, we did this survey. We're going to walk around with our own phone Just kidding lah. So we just based on the postcode and everything, we schedule out. Okay, the red boundary line is actually within the golden triangle area. So in fact, remember the three pictures that I showed you all just now? Okay, so we classify into four different segments. The KL City Center, which is the blue color one. KL Tower, alright, this is where the KL Tower is, and then Bukit Bintang Pavilion, yeah, most of you I think are quite familiar, right? And then lastly is TRX lah. So anyone familiar with all these places? Alright, Mr. Ahmad, yes lah, of course KLCC win. Okay, thank you for your support, Mr. Ahmad. Bukit Bintang, yes, okay, Miss Shirley, always shopping there, yeah, it's actually a heaven for shopping lah in Bukit Bintang. And then TRX, I work there, sometimes business traveling. Yeah, because later on we'll cover this lah. For those that don't know what is TRX, yeah, we'll somehow dive deep into this later in the part of this webinar, yeah. Okay, so yes, we have Singaporean tonight, right? Or maybe Johorian. I can give you an example lah. So in fact, KL City Center is something similar to Marina Bay Sands. So you see, KLCC, we got two towers, right? So Singapore is always one step ahead of us, so they got 3 buildings. No, just kidding. Alright, Malaysian, stay calm, Malaysian. Alright, so Bukit Bintang, yes, it's quite similar to Orchard Road where all the big brands are, and especially for those tourists when they want to come to shopping, right? This is the place that they'll definitely go. And then lastly is Tun Razak Exchange, or we call it TRX in short form. This is something similar to Raffles Place, which is the financial hub in Malaysia, in the city center. Very beautiful. If you have time when you visit KL, right, do drop us a call, either Mike or us, or you want to register a one-to-one discussion also, no problem. We'll show you around lah. But our main service is cover property and show you, not just providing tourism business. Yeah, okay, just kidding. All right, so moving on to why we have to choose in Tier 1 location, investors. Why? Before we start, anyone know why? Right, KLCC highest human flow. Yes. Bukit Bintang shopping. Okay. TRX. Okay. Thank you. I think most of us quite know lah about the market here. So in fact, I'll try to sum up lah. So usually the reason why you have to choose Tier 1 is because of the population. All the crowds are widely covered, especially for those business travelers, expatriates, office works, and also tourists. They usually will, when they are arriving in KL, right, they will go to these kind of places. And the second thing is, I think most of us are very familiar, probably all of us lah, know about COVID-19, right? So what happened is last time, when some of those investors, they are running their Airbnb investment strategy, right, they can only target on like certain segments of people, like tourists. But in fact, if you're investing in a city center, you can either use it for long-term rental or short-term rental. That means you can target expatriates as well, not just on tourists, right? And then I would say all these locations, right, works the best with the new rental strategy that we'll cover later on, and I'll explain why later, yeah. And then the second reason is, yes, mature and safe, because this is the place where all the central business district activities are, such as the multinational companies, the headquarters of the big brands. They're usually in this kind of places. And then the infrastructures are always ready, such as the MRT, the LRT, monorail. What is the difference? That one we'll cover later lah, Shirley. Alright, and then yes, the property price is always solid here, so easily that will cost about at least 2,000 ringgit and above lah, provided that it is very strategic location, and of course the rent is definitely high. But depends on the property also lah, by the way. So third reason is all the landmarks is actually very compacted in these 4 segments of map lah that I show you all just now, like TRX 118. 118, by the way, is upcoming, the newest iconic tower, very beautiful blue color one. And then Pavilion Bukit Bintang, one of the most luxurious shopping center in Kuala Lumpur. And now, of course, Petronas Twin Towers, everybody knows it. So usually for those tourists, when they come to KL, right, or second home finders, they'll usually stay in the city center because everything is ready. Alright, and then the third thing is, if you go to this kind of like Tier 1 locations such as Surya KLCC, Pavilion Bukit Bintang, I can confirm that, I can guarantee that you'll see all those big brands such as like Rolex, Louis Vuitton, and Montblanc, Burberry, Patek Philippe even. So this is the places where all the big brands, they'll set up their branch. international places, like Mr. Ahmad mentioned earlier, human crowd is the largest one in this location. Yeah. Okay. So interesting part. What are the projects that available in these zones? Any idea? No. Okay, Wayne, please start. Okay. Let us begin then. So in fact, I remember the 4 parts of the map in KL Golden Triangle. Yes, the blue color one is KLCC. I recap again. Yeah. KL Tower is the orange color, Bukit Pinang is green, and then Tiara is purple. So there are 3 different colors for the stars here. If you notice that the yellow color, in fact, is the new projects. Soon to be completed lah. And then the red color one, those are completed project. And then the orange color for those that are very observant, if you notice that, in fact, these 2 projects, right, they are off the Golden Triangle area. Okay. So these are the things that I think all of us have to know before we choose a project. First we have to choose the location right. Okay. So maybe we start off with a long run project first for those that are interested in long-term renting. So we'll start with the project that is nearest to the iconic tower, the favorite one, the KLCC. So in fact, this project's name is called Clubhouse, and then it is crafted by developer names of TA Global. It's a freehold project, by the way. It'll be ready in 4 years' time. So the layout is ranging from 1 room, 1 bed, 1 room, 1 bath, all the way to 2 rooms, 2 bath. Price is ranging from 1.5 to 3.2. So I would say this project, right? Literally, you can just stand in your balcony, reach out your hand, you can touch Surya KLCC already. Petronas Nidang, very, very beautiful and classy luxury. But in fact, this project, right, I would say maybe this is not something for us to so-called invest lah. Yeah, because it's a fully residential, strictly no Airbnb or for short rent. That means your rental strategy is limited already. And then for those that want to go for long-term investment, usually car park is a must. So for this project, no car park provided lah, but then there will be a floating car park lah. So that means something similar to when you go to shopping mall, you got to find your own place. You have the car park, right? And then the third thing is for this kind of property, usually very, very pricey, as we all know just now. So I don't think the monthly installment can cover your rental. So typically this is more suitable for your collection or own use or vacation home. Yeah. So second project, Core Residences, very near to the iconic tower also. So I think this one just recently completed. We got 3 phases here, 3 towers, 2 already completed. So it's built by this China Communications Construction Company, or usually we call it CCCC. Okay, freehold. 1 room to 3 rooms, 1.4 million to 2.4 million, roughly there. So this is how it looks like. The picture on the left hand side, the blue color tower, is TRX. The one on the right is Core Residences. Okay, yeah. Alright. So things to take note that we require about 300,000 down payment because this is in fact a completed project. That means from bank's perspective, right, we can only loan up to maximum 70%. Which is why you need to have a certain amount of cash to purchase this property. And then again, usually for this kind of very luxury near to iconic tower property, they are fully residential title, strictly no Airbnb for short rent, and then again, the renter I don't think could match the installment. Alright. So for those that are interested in this kind of like own stay, own special collection vacation home, you can just register with our one-to-one consultation or discussion session. And cash buyer, usually you can just ignore this part lah, because we do provide a loan consultation based on your profile, especially for those expatriates, foreigners or Singaporeans that are interested in this kind of property, and of course Bruneian. And then we will share more about the detailed info for all this particular project. And lastly, if you are really keen and interested, then you can get to choose which you need and also understand about the package, how does it work in terms of the monetary part. Okay, all right. So third one, Pavilion Square. Anyone heard of Pavilion before? Yes, Mr. Ahmad. Yes lah, of course, when Pavilion so famous. Okay, you again, Mr. Ahmad. Okay, thank you. Need to find one day, find you yum cha already, Mr. Ahmad. Feel like we are in the same channel one. Okay, so right, Mr. Ahmad, thank you. Pavilion, yes, they are very famous, and this project is crafted by Pavilion Group, and the location, in fact, is very, very strategic. Maybe I'll touch on the project info first, and then I'll show you a exact picture later. So it's a lease on 99 years. Will be ready in another 4 years time, Q1 2029. one bedded all the way to three bedded, 1.4 million to 2.4. So usually this kind of property, which is very near to this kind of so-called iconic tower or iconic landmark, the price will be, I would say, close to 3,000 ringgit per square foot one. But actually pays off for the value itself lah. So in fact, the picture on the right hand side here, okay, up to date they built to level 4 already lah. So there will be a link bridge directly connecting to this Pavilion shopping center. So very reasonable lah, which is why they are charging at a different price also. Okay, right. So there are some things that we have to take note as well for this Pavilion Square. Again, iconic tower, iconic landmark. Definitely is fully residential. No Airbnb, no short rent, and definitely if you are going for long-term rental, I don't think that the installment can cover your the rental can cover installments. Sorry. So this is usually for collection or for own use also. All right. So the third one, Oran Residences, also located in Bukit Bintang. So this project, guys, is very interesting, investors. So any of you are involved in crypto? Oh, Mr. Ahmad. Okay, this time Mr. Ahmad is not responding already, so I guess it's not involved. Okay, just kidding. So all right, for this project, right, if you're interested, you can purchase it with the cryptocurrency. Yeah, very flexible, and it's a freehold property. 5 minutes walking distance to TRX and 3 minutes walking distance to Pavilion Shopping Mall, the entrance where the fountain is located at. And it will be ready soon, Q2 2025. And we have 3 kinds of layouts over here for you to choose. 1 bedded all the way to 3 bedroom. So we do have a client that actually from other countries. He purchased the whole floor, 20 million. So he can just hack all the walls and customize his own like bedrooms, his own walk-in wardrobe, and all this kind of thing lah. So this is the only project that allows you to do this. Yeah, customization, your own renovation. Yeah, you can speak to our architect and do this. So if you're interested in this kind of property, you can just register for a one-to-one session. Yeah. Okay, I see Mr. Wadi. Okay, Mr. Wadi registered. Okay, so see you soon in the one-to-one discussion, Mr. Wadi. All right. Okay, Mr. Cheong. Okay, Mr. Cheong. All right. So, Mr. Cheong, may I know where you're from? Okay. Not to disclose. Okay, no problem. And then we'll talk in a one-to-one discussion. Okay. Okay. This is the exact location of the Oran Residences. So, in fact, it is sandwiched between the TRX and the Pavilion Bukit Bintang. So, very strategic. And next to it is a Ritz-Carlton Hotel, where last time when Obama visited Malaysia, KL, right? This is where it stays. So, this place is a very luxury and also very, very high-end one. Something different, okay? But of course, things to take note that since it is soon to be completed, requires a lot of down payment, and usually for this kind of luxury high-end property, the bank wouldn't finance a very high amount for you because the material that they use is very expensive and is not reflecting the price of the location itself. So that means you got to fork out more cash. And then again, fully residential, strictly no Airbnb, no short rent, and of course, if you're planning to do it for a rental, especially on the long-term rental part, your rental couldn't cover installment month. So again, collection or own use, something good to have. Alright, so actually me and Mike, we have summarized all the rental forecasts and the installment based on the pricing of each property lah. So I would say investors, you just have to look at the ROI. So typically we have summed up that for long-term rental property, the ROI is ranging from about 3%, 3%-ish, all the way to 5% at most. So of course, depending on the location, like core residence, perfect timing because there's a township there, yeah, which is why the positive cash there's actually a positive cash flow for core residences. Okay, so for the others, less likely lah because the entry price is considered on higher side already, more suitable for own stay or collection, right? So okay. If there's anyone that interested in own stay collection property, feel free to register for our one-to-one discussion session. Yeah. Okay. So I see that Mr. Yo registered. Okay. See you soon, Mr. Yo. Miss Lim. Okay, Miss Lim. All right. All right. See you soon. Okay. So moving on to the next part of this webinar. Completed and fast completion project. So any investors looking for this kind of property? Wow, okay. There are many investors interested now. Okay, no problem. But this is the bonus round lah. I would say there are in fact 3 completed projects that I think is good to have. But then sorry, not for investment. I'll tell you why later. So the first one is the Conley, crafted by E&O, a very famous developer in Malaysia. And this is a freehold property, by the way. It's completed, and we do have a layout ranging from 1 bedded all the way to 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So the price is starting from 1.8 million all the way to 3.4 million. So remember, again, near to iconic towers, nice location, big layouts, definitely is for own style collection. Because the entry price, remember, completed project, lower loan margin, that means you need to pay out more down payment part. So fully residential, no Airbnb, no short rent, and your installment definitely cannot cover by your renter. Okay, something good to have, yeah? Right. And then the other one, Eaton Residences. So this is actually the neighbor of the Conley. They are just right opposite of each other. So the only difference I would say is the leasehold and freehold thing lah. So for Eaton Residence, it's crafted by GSH, a very well-known Singapore company developer, and they do have a quite a good track record as well. And for this project, in fact, is a leasehold property and is already completed, I think somewhere about 2022, 2023. Yeah, 1 bedrooms all the way to 3 beddeds. Yeah, the price is ranging from about 2 million to 3.5 million. We do have some clients that purchase this property, and they are mainly from mainland, not Penang mainland, from China mainland. So they purchase this one is mainly for vacation home purposes. Yeah, like when they meet the summertime or the winter time, they just come here for their vacation. Which is why they need a bigger layout also lah. So different kind of purpose lah, I would say. Alright. So this is the exact location. Okay. The arrow, the green color arrow pointing that building is Eaton Residence. So from here all the way to the Petronas Twin Tower, driving distance is roughly about 5 minutes only, very near. But by foot, me and my partner Mike, we tried before, took us about 20 minutes lah, slow walk. But luckily that time no hot sun, still okay. So again, things to take note. Back to here, computer project, you need a very high down payment amount, 400,000 definitely. And then in fact for this project, right, it's quite special, I would say. This is there's a mixture between the Airbnb and also a long rent. And the location wise, I would say is sandwiched between the KLCC area and at the borderline near to the east part of KL already. So there's no clear direction for the rental mode lah. So that means this could be very critical as well, because when people come here and stay, they don't know whether this is only for short rent or this is suitable for long rent. But of course there are some China tourists, right? Those Wang Hong influencer, they'll come here and enjoy the sky pool view at level 51, by the way. Very nice. Next time when you visit, can let us know. We'll just show you around to enjoy the city view. Alright, and then of course if you are running Airbnb so-called investment strategy here, I would say break even, not very challenging, but of course depends on operator again. And then long-term rental, less likely. I don't think the renter can cover a monthly installment because the entry price is on the higher side already. Yeah, so again, this property, something good to have. Yeah. And then thirdly, soon to be completed project, Skyline Embassy. Anyone heard of this project before? Investors? Yes, okay, walking distance to KLCC1, right? Actually no, Miss Tan, this project, right, you got to drive to KL City Center, but then if you're talking about the public transport, then they can bring you to the city center lah, but definitely not by foot. By foot, I think at least 30 minutes. By car, about 10 minutes. Still okay. So this project is located at Jalan Ampang, Taman Newton, by the way, for information, out of the Golden Triangle area, which is why we are looking at the layout, right? It's more suitable for own stay purposes. So their proposal from the developer is that this kind of property, you can either use it for Airbnb or long-term rental, similar to Eaton Residences. No clear direction, but then the good thing is if you are looking for property with the lower entry price in the KL area, not KL Golden Triangle, you can consider this one, because even for foreigner, right, you can get the layout of about 680 square feet just starting from 1 million ringgit. Yeah, something good to have lah, provided that you need a place to stay, or maybe you are looking for a place for your son or daughters that are working in KL to use. This is the one. But in terms of investment, I would say maybe you think twice lah. Think twice. This is more inclined toward own stay kind of property. So this is the exact site location. Estimated will be ready about 2 years time lah. Yeah, very fast. So things to take note, you need about 150,000 down payment for this project because the current construction progress, right, is up to about 40% already. And then again, yeah, mixture of Airbnb and and long rent. So that means no clear direction on the rental mode. And then like I mentioned earlier, because this place, right, is neither KLCC, all right, and then no tier 2 location. Neither tier 1, tier 2 lah. So later I'll cover what are these. That means you don't have a very clear target audience in terms of the tenant part. So even when people they want to search out for a place to stay, right, they also don't know whether this property is Airbnb one or for long-term renting one. So there's a risk there lah, but something good to know lah. All right. Right, so for those that in fact interested in these 3 properties completed, the Conley, Eaton Residences and Skyline Embassy, feel free to register for a one-to-one consultation so that we can share more about the detailed information regarding that specific project with you. And if you want to purchase through cash, then that's pretty straightforward. You don't have to go through the loan review and everything. But if you need to purchase with using a local bank credit facilities, then maybe you can have a chit chat. And then of course we do have some units left at the moment for these 3 projects, so you can just register one-to-one and choose whether this unit is suitable for you or not in terms of the phasing and everything. Okay, I can see Gilbert, Mr. Gilbert. Okay, sounds like a foreigner. Mr. Gilbert, okay, already joined. Miss Teresa, okay, all right, see you soon in the one-to-one session. Yeah, okay, all right. So let me grab a seat first. Okay, coming back to the part 3, which is I think most of the investors, those that seasoned investors, right, I think short rent projects are not new to you, right? So, and of course we will cover more in depth in terms of the project details and the strategies for each project today. Alright, so anyone heard of the Face Suites that is located at Jalan Tun Razak before? Anyone? Any investors here? Oh, Mr. Zahid. Me and my family were there last December. Pool view very nice. Yeah, I can see icon. Yes. So I'm actually very attracted to this project as well. This is a completed project, by the way. So the facility is located at the highest floor, level 51. You can see the KL Tower 118, KLCC, and also TRX. Very, very stunning, the view. So in fact, I have some mixed feelings for this project. And yes, it's a freehold one, crafted by Platinum Victory. And then this property is mainly inclines towards short-term renting. So it is managed by a so-called the new rental strategy kind of concept, but mixture of Airbnb lah. So they have a studio all the way to 3 bedrooms. So mixture of both short rent plus long rent. And then the entry price is starting from 1 million all the way to close to 3 million, 2.8 by the way. All right. Okay, so this is where it's located at Jalan Tun Razak, and then a few steps away you can access to this Bukit Nanas monorail station. So it is sandwiched between the KLCC and the Bukit Bintang, which is why most of those China influencer tourists, they'll come here and stay. But the most important thing, I think only because of the view really very stunning, the L-shaped swimming pool. Those that visited before, I think you're gonna like it, right? Yeah. Okay, so things to take note, as we mentioned, as we discussed earlier, completed project, again 70% loan margin. This is only applicable for Malaysian, 70%. If for foreigner, usually 50 or 60%. So that means you need a high amount of down payment for this kind of completed project. And then like I mentioned, the location is not as close to KLCC, neither city center nor the tourist spot, but then luckily it is sandwiched between those tier 1 location, so still okay. And then if dear investors, if you're interested in this project and you think that this is the thing for you, there's something that I want to highlight first because the project has been completed for quite some time, probably about 2 to 3 years time. That means there are already some capital appreciation for this project. So buying now, I would say consider maybe not that worthy because the price has increased already. But you still think that you want to buy for your own collection, you like the spot, you like the facilities, yes, more than happy to assist you. Okay, right. So okay, I've seen that. Okay, registered. Okay, I think Mr. Hassan is interested in the face Swiss. Okay, and Mr. Zahid also. Okay, all right. Okay, so moving on, we will cover a project. Just now is the closest from the iconic towers, right? This time we cover those that are furthest away from the iconic towers. So anyone remember this project, Lawview? Oh, no. Okay, no, never mind. I'll cover again. So remember, just now we have 4 segments, different color, and then got the star, the yellow color, red color, and orange. So Lawview is the one that I highlighted in orange color, not within the golden triangle, in Kampong Baru. Okay, yes, Kampong Baru, not KL Triangle. Yes, Mr. Ahmad, thank you. Oh, you are back again. Welcome. All right, so Lawview is crafted by Armani Group. I would say a very well-known company in KL. Recently they have many developments, and then this project is a freehold property and will be ready in Q2 of 2029. So we do have a layout ranging from a studio, 2 bedrooms, and a dual key unit. Yeah. The entry price, in fact, I would say is the lowest, one of the lowest among all the projects that we cover today. The entry price is about 1,003, 1,004 each per square foot. Yeah, but remember, when we are talking about location, we got to consider many factors also right? So this is where it's located at Kampong Baru, or another name, Raja Uda. So if for those that are familiar with KL city center area, I think you have heard of Satya Sky before, right? At Raja Uda. Yeah, this is just the one that right opposite of it. Okay, we got a comment here. Miss City, alright, yes Wayne, that is not KL city center, but the KLCC view is nice. Yes, Miss City, yes, in fact, yep. Okay, Miss Zarina, my niece got snapped. Okay, I hope your niece is okay now. Yeah, so yes, sometimes the security is very hard to tell, especially when it's not in the city center. But when we are looking at the bright side, this project in fact is one of the lowest entry point among all. And then the good thing is Kampong Baru, right? If you translate it to English, it's called a new village. That means there are still some room of appreciation for this property. So for those that are interested in this property, you can register also for our one-to-one discussion, and we will talk more about it, about the master plan and things like that. Right. Okay, I can see. Okay, Lina. Okay, Lina registered for one-to-one. Okay, see you soon, Lina. All right. Okay, so there are some things to take note for Lawview. Alright, so the down payment required is about 60,000, and again, location is not in KLCC for those that thought this project is in KLCC. Okay, alright, and then rental, I would say can't really match with your installment, because again, this place is not a city center, no tourist hotspot. So if you are doing for long rent, right, usually it has to be a tier 2 location with all the eateries, public transport, things like that. But in Kampong Baru, not really. But if you are looking at different perspective, you want to go for those short rent, also very challenging because there are no tourist attraction. So the nearest one is the KLCC. You can only see from your unit or your building. So that means you still have to commute to other location, which that will definitely affect your occupancy rate. And then the third thing is for Lawview, in fact, this is a pilot project by the developer, by Armani, but maybe everybody deserves a chance lah. For those that maybe I would say price sensitive, and then things that location is not that crucial for you, you can consider this project. But there's a bright side lah, one of the lowest entry point project to own in KL area. But again, KL, not KL Golden Triangle. Yeah, okay. So next one is Holson. So Holson, in fact, is one of the newest project in the KL city center area. So similar developer by Armani Group. It's a freehold property. Will be ready in Q2 of 2029, and we do have a layout ranging from a studio and a dual key unit. Entry price also, I would say, very affordable, from 730,000 all the way to 2.4 million. Maybe 2.4 million to me is not affordable lah, but for some of you maybe yes. Okay, all right. So the location, anyone is familiar with Jalan Ampang area? Mr. Ahmad, you again. Okay. Yes, I always go the Pelita Nasi Kandar and makan. Yes, Mr. Ahmad. This project, in fact, is just right opposite of the Pelita lah. So you know the distance, how close it is to the Petronas Twin Tower, right? Yeah, very near only. By foot you can access to there only. So is it the one next to Hotel Maya? Yes. Next to Hatuan Maya. Yep, correct. Okay, so yeah, there are some things that we have to take note of. So like I mentioned, this project is still new, soft launch. So the down payment part to be confirmed, but of course, those that are interested in this project, you can register a one-to-one discussion and we'll share some preliminary info with you. And then later on, if you have gathered all the finalized material, we'll share with you as well. Yep. Okay. 1 second, yeah. Okay, oops. All right. Okay, technical issue, sorry. So this project, things to take note that is, in fact, there are about 2,000 units here. All right. So when we are looking at the long-term scheme, yeah, going for short rent or Airbnb, this kind of thing, it'll be very competitive. So something to take note. And then location, in fact, is very near to the iconic tower, KLCC. But I think the nearest eateries is the Pelita Nasi Kandar. Yeah, that's the only one. And then if you want to walk to public transport, especially you want to target for short rent, right, for tourists, also quite some distance. The nearest station I think is either towards the Bukit Nanas, Face Suites direction. That's monorail by the way, or towards the Avenue K. Avenue K is the KLCC LRT station, about 10 minutes walk roughly there. And then again, Amani Group, relatively new developer. So I would say this is a pilot project of the developer as well. Okay, so moving on, next one is Dawn KLCC. So anyone heard of this project? I think this project is very well known. Anyone? Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay. So in fact, this project is developed by Chin Hin Group, okay, a public listed company. They started their business from building materials and then slowly ventured into property development. Yeah, and then yeah, back to here. Dawn KLCC is a freehold property. Completion will be about another 4 to 5 years time, Q2 of 2029, and have a studio, a jewel key, and of course there will be a 2-room and 1 bath. Alright, so this is I would say mixture of Airbnb and collection, because one of the unique selling point of this project is that the highest floor, yeah, floors above 40 level, you can see the KLCC tower directly, unblocked view. So this is where it's located at, yeah, on the left hand side of the picture over here. 1 second, yeah. Alright, over here, the scale model. Can you see? Alright. So in fact, we are taking this view from Google. I think they got it from the Legacy, just right opposite only. So you can see the green color arrow is where the site location is located at, Dawn. And then if you notice that right hand side, there's a very beautiful Royal Memorial Park. Okay. What is Memorial Park? Very diplomatic way of saying graveyard. Mr. Ahmad, you again. Okay. Yes, for those that don't know what is Memorial Park, it's a graveyard or a cemetery here. But this one is a very well-maintained cemetery because it's connected to Saloma Bridge. The bridge where those tourists, right, they'll come over and take very nice photos and all this lah. But then if you don't mind, I think should be okay lah, since this is just an investment property, right, not for own stay purpose. Okay, and then yeah, remember just now when we are talking about Horsen, the one that opposite the Pelita Nasi Kandar, yeah, this is where it's located at. The cursor, all right, somewhere over here. Yeah, which explains why properties that is not that doesn't have strategic location, right, the entry price usually will have a lower entry point. But again, give and take. If you don't mind about the surroundings and you think that owning a property in the city center is the priority for you, then you can register for a one-to-one discussion and we can talk more about this. And then for Dawn, in fact, for now, not many units available at the moment, but those who are interested, we can still help you to check lah. So okay, see Mr. Lim. Okay, Mr. Lim registered. Mr. Koo, okay, all right, and Mr. Sim. All right, see you all in the one-to-one discussion session. Yeah, okay, all right. So yeah, there are some things to take note. Wow, so quickly registered before I go to this slide. All right, so you need to know that you need about 60,000 of down payment, and then of course the property itself. Remember, the lower the price, the higher the density. So yes, there will be about 2,000 units just in this area, but there will be 2 phases lah. So Dawn, in fact, is the phase 1. There will be about 960 units, and then upcoming there will be phase 2, Dust Deal SK, in the same plot of land. So there will be 2,000 units over here. And then the location, I think I highlighted quite a number of time already. Not as strategic because if you want to access to the Petronas Twin Tower, no doubt is very near. 5 minutes walking distance, straight one line. But when you want to walk to the public transport, the nearest one is the KLCC LRT station underneath of Avenue K Shopping Mall. That would take you roughly about 8 minutes. And then surrounding don't have eateries. So this is very crucial, especially when you want to target on those short-term renting. Yeah, tourists, right? Okay, and then again, pilot project of the developer. So that means they'll appoint, usually this is how it works for those new developer. They appoint a third-party operator to come in to manage the entire building. So remember early on I mentioned about Maple Home. Yes, Maple Home will be one of the players, big players, that comes in and collaborate with Chin Hin to run this building, for the short-term rental part. Okay. So next one, Armani Prestige. Yep. Location very strategic. All right. By Armani Group. Freehold. Q1 2029. There will be two kind of layout. 270 square feet and 330. So entry price also the same, 630,000 to 720,000. Okay, I can see Mr. Shahi. Armani, okay. Yes, actually, Armani, I would say they are rather new here, but of course, please give them a chance. They are also building their track record, right? Just starting. So yeah, they have many developments in town at the moment, just like the one we mentioned earlier, Armani Lovefield, Armani Horsen, and Prestige, one of their projects also. Okay. So this is where Armani Prestige is located at. Anyone know about Avenue K Shopping Mall in the KL City Centre area? Yes. Okay. Many of you quite familiar with KLCC, yeah? Okay. Alright, yeah. So in fact, Armani Prestige is just right behind of Avenue K Shopping Mall. Okay, there's a car park land, yes, but not that piece another one behind the car park land, yes. So the green color arrow place alright. So things to take note that for Armani Prestige, in fact this is a newly launched project, so for the down payment part also to be confirmed. But then things that for us to take note is, in fact this project, right, as we can see from the Google map, the land size is very small, so that means this is a small footprint project. And the building itself is not highly exposed, alright, unless it's very beautiful. So location wise, it's not strategic because it's not close to the amenities. You have to walk out from the road there, and then access to Jalan Ampang there, and then pilot project also by the developer, alright. Okay, so next one is Kylie's, alright. Kylie's Jenner's name Kylie's, alright. So the developer is called Exim Group. It's a freehold property, and it'll be ready in about 4 years time or so, 3 to 4 years time, Q4 2028. Studio, 2 bedrooms and a Chuki unit, and the entry price is starting from 730,000 all the way to about 1.4 million. Okay, so by the way, for those that know where Avenue K Shopping Mall is, this is where it is. Alright, you can see my cursor, so the green color arrow here is where Kylie is. So this is Petronas Twin Tower, so just right opposite of Avenue K Shopping Mall, only the side entrance. Alright, the village closer part. Okay. Alright, so things to take note. Again, something similar to Armani Prestige. Small footprint, but then in terms of the exposure, I think as compared to Armani Prestige, this is higher a bit because it's nearer to Jalan Ampang. But then the thing is, because it's a very strategic spot, that means you won't see like KLCC View like Dawn, and you won't see like KLCC View like Lovefield also So because the surroundings are all the very tall buildings, but the good thing is you got a very strategic location, easily access to all those amenities. Alright, and the down payment part, you have to prepare about 100,000. Yeah. Okay. So okay, I see Mr. Chua. Alright, registered for this project. Okay. See you soon. One-to-one discussion, Mr. Chua. Okay. Mr. Chai also. Okay. Mr. Yap. Mr. Hong. Okay. Alright. See you all soon, Hope that my schedule can meet all this discussion done. Alright, another project is Hana Suites. Alright, similar developer, Exim also, and then this is a freehold property, will be ready in 2020. But in fact, this property I will park under as the phase 2 of Kylie's. So Kylie says phase 1, Hana's is phase 2. So the price also more or less the same because they are just next to each other. Alright, so exactly the same road, it's just a different plot of land. Very accessible to the MK also. Alright, so things to take note, phase 2, right? So same thing, small footprint and then block view, no KLCC view. So if you're a view person, then maybe this project is not for you. And then down payment also required 100,000. Okay? Right. So for Mr. Chua, Mr. Chai, and just now Mr. Hong, right? If you registered the one-to-one discussion, so when we meet, right, we will talk more about these two projects lah. All right. Okay, so moving on to, okay, just now we discussed about Harmony Prestige, Dawn, and also Hannah's plus Kylie's, right? Okay, so we need to know where these places exactly is, So, alright, so if you are walking from Dawn KLCC all the way from the site to Avenue K, that will take you roughly about 8 minutes as I mentioned earlier. And then for Harmony Prestige, take you about 3 minutes. Of course, the nearest one definitely is going to be Hannah Suites because at the same road, right? Yeah. But Wayne, my agent, okay, agent told me that Harmony is nearer to Avenue K. Okay, this is a good question, yeah. All right, so yes, in fact, okay, if you can see my cursor over here, this is Avenue K shopping mall. The orange color plot of land is Harmony Prestige. The green color is Hannah Suites. So I think there are some agents been telling my clients that, hey, you can just walk directly from the Harmony site all the way cut across this piece of land to Avenue K, but in fact it is not, yeah, because the red color land is owned by another landlord. So that means if you're walking out from Harmony Prestige, you're gonna follow the blue color path here. All right, so you're gonna walk out and then you take a turn here, you'll see Hannah Suites and then go straight. But in fact, I would say still okay lah, still manageable in terms of the walking distance. So you just have to pass through Hannah's first. Yeah, so speaking of Hannah's, if you want to walk from Hannah's there continuously to the KLCC or the LRT station, you can just follow this green color line here. Yeah, along the Jalan Ampang Road, taking the pedestrian. So let's say if it's a very sunny day or rainy day, you can just enter the Avenue K shopping mall and just go straight. There's actually, in fact, the so-called underpass that you can access directly to the Surya KLCC basement there. Right? Okay, so again, same table, but things that I want to highlight is for short rent property, right? We're expecting a higher ROI ranging from a 6% to 8%, but of course, depends on the location, the layout size, and the performance of your operator. All right, and then moving on is our last project today, Brannigan Suites, located at Bukit Bintang. So also built by Exim. But this time this is different. It's a leasehold 99 years property. Will be ready in another 4 years time. Alright, so the layout size also ranging from studio, 2 bedrooms and a jockey unit. Price 760,000 all the way to 1.4 million. Okay, right. So anyone know about Park Royal Collection Hotel? Familiar? Anyone? Alright, can see Miss Tan. I stay there with my family every time I visit. Okay, yeah. So in fact, Brannigan's, right, is right over here. It's just right opposite of Park Royal Collection Hotel. And then if you notice that there are blue color building here, this is one of the iconic in KL. It's called TRX. Yeah, very near. Okay, so things to take note for Brannigan's is, again, you need about 100,000 down payment for this. And then based on my perspective, right, I think that the accessibility, right, somehow is congested for the egress and egress lah. The place where you come in by car and then will go out, because it's located at one of the busiest, I would say, the junction in the Bukit Bintang area. Cut across the Jalan Imbi and the Jalan Sultan Ismail. So very, very heavy traffic here. And then no clear views, because all the views, right, are blocked by the buildings surrounding. But of course, if you go to the highest floor, you can still see those 4 iconic towers like 118, TRX, KL Tower and KLCC. Something similar to the Phase Suites. Yeah, same view. Right. So for those that are interested in short rent properties, short rent projects, and you want to know more about it in terms of the loan part, more detailed information for a specific project, or you want to select a unit directly, also no problem. You can just register for a one-to-one discussion session and we'll attend to you as soon as we can, yeah? Alright, need a break? Okay, no. Okay, thank you everyone, but I need a 10-second break. Okay, thank you for waiting. So I would say this is one of the most interesting part of today's webinar, and we will cover more on the rental strategy. Which one is the best? But in fact, there's no so-called the best strategy. It's just that which location we can use which strategy, the most suitable one, right? So anyone invested in Airbnb and have like different insight? So far so good. Okay, Airbnb can make money. Okay, Airbnb sometimes okay, sometimes. Oh yeah, those are very common problems here lah. So in fact, I'll try to sum up. Usually for Airbnb, right, the building itself, there are many units, so different owners, and then of course you engage different operators. Sometimes their friends help them to manage, sometimes their relative, right? So definitely there will be a price war. But how does this price war occur? Because some owners, they want to rent out their unit as soon as they can, so they lower down the price. So in fact, we just call this lowballing lah. So there will be other owners also want to rent out their unit to boost up the occupancy, right? So I rather let my unit rent out at the lower price. I also don't want to let it to be vacant. So that's how the so-called price war happens. So for investors, regardless of season one or new investors here, if you are looking for short-run properties, right, go for those buildings that only have like few operators, not to say just one, maybe few, at least you lower down the risk. And then the second thing is if you're investing in Airbnb, yes, just like Singapore, just like Penang, Airbnb is totally banned there. So we don't know what's going to happen to KL, but just to be safe, maybe avoid from getting an Airbnb project would be the best option for now lah. All right, in the long scheme lah. All right. And then the second thing is, yes, when you have an Airbnb property that you invested in, definitely there will be a higher wear and tear because you have different tenants every day, different guests. But of course, actually, in fact, it's very depending on the operator. The Airbnb operator, because some operator, right, they are only managing few units, so they can do their own cleaning works. But if the Airbnb operator, right, they managing like, for example, 50 to 100 units, I don't think it's possible for them to manage all their property by themselves, like cleaning property, as for example. So they outsource all these cleaning works for the other party. And then we also don't know about the background of the so-called cleaning team, and that may, I would say, damage your unit, or sometimes they just want to do the work, or maybe the operator choose the cheapest cleaning team to come in lah. So this is the risk that we can't see at the back end there. And then last thing is poor living experience of the guests. Yeah, because sometimes when we are looking at Airbnb, right, the rating is very, very, very crucial. Yeah, it's like your branding of your Airbnb unit. So if the operator is not running the business nicely, beautifully, so that will definitely affect your future, your future investment strategy also. So this is something to take note on. All right. Okay. So actually, up to here, right? Anyone know about or heard about hotel service suites before? No. Okay. Oh, okay. Most of you don't know what is hotel service. Okay. All right. So yes, this is something that is quite new to the market. But in fact, in terms of the, I would say the structure, right? The structure, the backbone, it's quite similar to Airbnb. It's a short run investment strategy. But then what stands out is hotel service suites, they only have single operator to control or to manage the entire property, which means they can control the price to reduce the risk of having this so-called price war. And then the second thing is hotel service suites, as we can see from its name, definitely they will own a hotel license. So that means in the future, when so-called Airbnb get banned, right, definitely for hotel service suites, they will not be affected. And then the third thing is when your guests come in and stay, imagine, if they need an extra towel or extra pillow, usually they have to call the operator to come over, to send it over, probably take about an hour or two. But for hotel service suites, usually when they just contact the intercom directly, the concierge, right, the workers will send directly to their rooms already. Which is why these days, right, most of these youngsters especially, they will prefer something like that, more about lifestyle experience. Yeah. And the third thing is hotel management. So like I mentioned earlier, usually Airbnb operator, they will outsource their cleaning work or other maintenance works lah. So there will be two things. You're not sure about the background of the third party, All right, and then the other thing is maybe when you outsource something, there will be extra charges also. But for hotel service suites, it will be managed by one in-house hotel management team. So that means you lower down the wear and the tear rate also, and can control the price, because even for the cleaning team, also their own people, so we can reduce the cost from here. Yeah, in the long run, you can see it will be better than Airbnb, I would say. All right. Okay. So yes. This is why just now when I put all the stars, remember 4-star for ROI, manageable, 5-star. Okay, let me explain. The reason why I put 4-star for hotel suites is because there will be a pool sharing scheme among all the owners. Unlike Airbnb, your return is solely depending on your single unit, right? Got occupant, is occupied, then you make money. Otherwise, you lose money or you don't make money from there. But for hotel suites, right, regardless your unit is occupied or not, let's say your neighbor, his unit is occupied, then all the profit will be shared among all the owners. So at least together we are good lah, and then together we are also bad lah. So this kind of concept. But usually for hotel service suites, it has to be a very strategic location. So otherwise, I don't think it will survive. So investors, you got to choose wisely. And then the second thing is the manageability. So remember, there will be only one operator coming in. That means we just have to pass our key or delegate our unit to them, and they will manage everything. Like even there will be like maintenance work, changing the light bulb, fixing the plumbing things. You don't have to be there. They will settle everything and just send you billing by end of the month. Yep. And then protection wise, yes, remember about the hotel licensing. Usually for hotel, right, or hotel licensing running company, they have to purchase insurance to protect the building, the common area, and the unit itself. So which is why I put a 5-star for this. As compared to Airbnb, some operator, they want to save cost, so they don't buy. Yeah, but then in fact they told our owner that yes, they did, but this is something that we have to be extra careful. Yeah, especially for new investors. And then lastly, stability. I put 4-star because yes, it's depending on the season as well. But of course, when you're investing in a hotel service suites, that means your building have a very clear direction. This is for short rent. Airbnb is sometimes you can do for short rent, sometimes you can do for long rent, right? But this one solely totally for short rent. That means when your guests after they stay, right, they can intro to their friends or their relative. So there will be referral activities that will in fact boost up the stability in the long run for this kind of business. Okay, all right. So lastly, okay, most important part, Wayne, after you share with us so much, which project is suitable? Okay, please be patient. Wow, Mr. Ahmad, you are always one step ahead of me. 1 second. All right, so remember the 4 segments just now. All right, so there will be some projects. In fact, this is they are suitable for this kind of investment strategy, which is Armani Hosen, Armani Prestige, Armani Lawview, yes, out of Golden Triangle, but yes, and then Hana Suites and Kylie Suites. And lastly is the Bukit Bintang one, the one that opposite of Park Royal Collection, remember? Brannigan Suites. So this project, I would say suitable one for the hotel service suites concept. But if you like to know more about like choosing a right operator, like knowing the track record, knowing how transparent is the operator, feel free to register for our one-to-one discussion. And we'll go deep into it, like showing all the like the finance statement and what are the things that they did in the past, the good things not the bad things, the good things, and then their licensing stuff like that, and also knowing about the performance also. This is very important because for those investors from outstation and from other countries, I don't think you have the time to keep on monitoring your unit. So choosing a right one is very important. Yeah, just like we choose our business partner, like our wife or husband also, right? So I would say this is something similar, right? Okay, so recap, finale. Which project has the best value price, Wayne? Always ask question. Okay, so usually I wouldn't say which one is the best, but I will give it a ranking, I would say. So when we are looking at the long run investment, yeah, for those that are interested in this part, yeah, you can pay more attention. Yeah, I will propose Skyline Embassy, the one that located at Jalan Ampang Taman Newton, because first thing first is the developer, I would say, of course, it's quite new also, but they have a building next to TRX, so I think still okay, reliable. Entry price, I would say this is one of the lowest entry point in the KL area. Again, KL area, not KL Golden Triangle. And then if you can afford to pay some down payment, roughly about 150,000, still okay. Good to have. Good to invest, I would say, not for me, because no clear direction, but good to own or for collection, yes. So the reason I sum up, the only thing that I think concerns me the most is the down payment outlay for investment. Alright, and then the second place, core residences. Yes, this is a completed project, but provided that your budget allows you to do this, this is something that good to have. Oh, okay, sorry, forgot to charge my laptop, but no problem, we can still continue. Alright, and then this requires a high amount of down payment. So for those that can afford this amount and you think that is your thing, Raffles Place, go for it. I will put Pavilion Square at the first place because the branding itself is by Pavilion Group. Entry price about 1.4 million, still okay in this location, and requires not much of down payment, about 70k only, still okay. Alright, down payment is very minimal. Alright, so moving on, when we are talking about short rent investment, for those that pantang with the Memorial Park, maybe you can skip this. But I think Dawn KLCC, in fact, when we are looking from different perspective and taking in different factors, right? I think still okay because the entry price is only about 600,000 in KLCC. You can get a studio already, so still okay one. And then if you manage to get a higher floor unit, you can still see KLCC Tower. Yep, and freehold some more by good developer Jin Hin. Yeah. So second place, I would say is Kylie's and Hannah's. No doubt the location is very strategic, very near to Avenue K shopping mall. It's just that I think the down payment part you have to fork out more, about 100,000. Yeah, although it's a freehold property so still okay So up to your preference and your comfortability in terms of budget. And then first place to me, although this is a leasehold property, but I think if you are mainly targeting on tourists only tourists, you can look into this project because it's located at Bukit Bintang. Yeah, Bukit Bintang, well known for tourist hotspot, tourist heaven, right? So yep. But then down payment you need about 100,000 for this. But if you are looking for something that maybe for own collection, vacation home, somewhere with a so-called serenity, you need peace one. Bukit Bintang definitely is not the thing for you Maybe you can look into the second one, Kylie's or Hannah's. All right. Okay, so okay, here we go, Mr. Ahmad. Okay, Mr. Ahmad, what can I do for you? KLCC or Bukit Bintang is better? Mr. Ahmad, as I say, you're always ahead of me. 1 second. All right. Yeah, this slide is for you, Mr. Ahmad. Is KLCC or Bukit Bintang better? Instead of asking me, because I'm always there are many investors always ask me this kind of question. So if I answer a question, I think that's my own perspective. How about we ask Google, our best friend? Yep. So okay, you see, tourists prefer Bukit Bintang or KLCC. Alright. So okay, actually Google is very diplomatic also Okay. Bukit Bintang, pros, more lively and diverse with a mix of old and new attractions, more street food, markets, and wide range of nightlife. So that means more happening, alright. But the con is noisy, very crowded, especially during the peak hours, very jammed. Okay, so for those that are looking for a place to stay, a vacation home, maybe Bukit Bintang is not for you. But for KLCC, okay, what are the pros? Okay, there's only one KLCC in KL. Iconic landmark Petronas Twin Tower, large shopping mall Surya KLCC, and a more modern and upscale atmosphere. Yes, the KLCC Park and the Shakurin malls and all this. But the con is, yes, less vibrant. Usually after 10 p.m, right, most of the shops close already. This is for those that want some peace. Okay, I enjoy my daytime already. Nighttime, I want to have a fine dining, and after that, chill and relax at my hotel or my Airbnb. This is the one for them. Alright, so I hope I answered your question, Mr. Ahmad. Alright, so maybe I'll share some of the attractions in KL City Centre with our investors here. So there are many things that we can do in here, in KLCC, by the way. So for our Muslim friends here, there are Shakurin Mosque, also located at KLCC, very beautiful. If this is your first time visiting KL, you definitely have to drop by. Take a nice photo, and then it's next to KLCC Park only, by the way. And by foot, you can access to the Petronas Twin Tower. And then remember the Saloma Bridge? Anyone remember? No. Okay. I need to hide. I need to put it in my slide already next time. Okay, so this is the one that connected to the Memorial Park. Don't remember. Yeah, by foot walking distance, less than 3 minutes, you can access it there already. But maybe we put our feeling aside lah. In fact, Saloma Bridge is very beautiful. Yeah, and then Aquaria, yes. And then lastly, for those international tourists especially, their first stop to KLCC, right? After they visit all the attractions, they'll definitely go for fine dining one. And then find a nice restaurant having a KLCC tower view. And after that, back to hotel. Which is why after 10 p.m. usually less vibrant already. So this is how it works in KLCC. No? So it depends on what kind of tourist target audience you are targeting on. Right. And then for Bukit Bintang, alright, so in fact Bukit Bintang there are, I would say, total lah, old ones and the new ones, about 8 shopping mall here. So for those that really love shopping heaven, this it is. Okay, there are Lalaport furthest away from Bukit Bintang, Berjaya Times Square 2, one of the famous one. Okay, I think everybody knows this, the Berjaya Times Square. And then Sungawang Plaza also, last time very old already, but then after that they refurbish the whole thing. And then there are Lot 10, Fahrenheit, Star Hill Gallery. Okay, I would say this is just a gallery, nothing much there. And then Pavilion Bukit Bintang, one of my favorite place lah. And then of course there are actually in fact another Exchange Mall just right beneath of this TRX building. Alright, very beautiful. So I would say Bukit Bintang is mainly for locals within Malaysia or our friends from Southeast Asia, Singapore, Brunei. Maybe you can consider investing in here lah, right? So Jalan Alor, Food Street and Jangkat, also one of the many attractions in the Bukit Bintang area. So not only having these like 8 shopping malls here, but you can also access to many different places, which is why most of the tourists, right, they definitely will drop by in KL City Centre first, and then after that, maybe the second or the third day, they will explore more in the Bukit Bintang area. Okay, so another question, Wayne, tourists prefer to stay in KLCC or Bukit Bintang? I would say this is very subjective question because for myself, I think both are okay. Depends on my mood, I would say. Maybe when I want to stay in KLCC, usually sometimes I need some peace, some so-called serenity, quiet place. KLCC, having a beautiful view with all the iconic towers, yes. But when hanging around with friends from outstations, right, usually this is Bukit Bintang is the place where I will show them around. At least we can access to many different things just in one area. But in KLCC, I would say mainly for individual, but Bukit Bintang probably in a group of people. Yeah, so again, very subjective. Google is our best friend, just ask him. Tourists prefer to stay in Bukit Bintang or KLCC? Again, a very diplomatic way of answering us. So I'll just try to sum up what they're trying to say here. Okay, Bukit Bintang, very happening, easy access to attractions, yes, the one I covered just now. And then walkable to basically all the attractions lah. Yeah, this is the thing that I did not mention earlier. Budget friendly, because in Bukit Bintang, right, it's actually a mixture of old areas and the new areas like TRX. So that means there will be some affordable, budget-friendly hotels or Airbnb. And yes, even there are some 5-star hotels. But when you compare to KLCC, right, the hotels in KLCC is more expensive, definitely, such as the W Hotel, Four Seasons, Equatorial, Mandarin Oriental, all these hotels, right, easily if you stay one night, that will cost you about 1,000 ringgit at Buffalo. So I think there's a clear line between Bukit Bintang and the KLCC, especially on the crowd part, the target audience, totally different one. Right. So yes, there are some investors usually ask me this question also. Wayne, why don't tourists stay at TRX instead of Bukit Bintang? But I think Singaporean, I understand, definitely not going to ask me this question because TRX is similar to Raffles Place, a financial hub. And I don't think there will be tourists that's going to stay in the financial hub. But for business travelers, yes. So again, even for business travelers, right, they cannot stay in TRX because all the residential towers here, they are mainly for residential purpose. So that means, remember, no Airbnb, which is why I think Bukit Bintang is benefited from there also lah. There will be a booster effect from TRX, and then most of the crowds, those that actually want to stay in hotels or hotel service suites or perhaps Airbnb, move towards Bukit Bintang already. Like Capri, Dorset, not sure whether all of you heard of these names before, Exxon, Sleeping Lions, these places. Alright. So in fact, Malaysian Investment Development Authority, or we call it MIDA, they also expect more multinational companies to populate TRX lah. So the good thing is our government, Malaysian government, by the way, they also lowered down all the tax for all the multinational companies to come in also lah. So another thing is during the pandemic, there's one company called United Overseas Land, owner by UOB lah, Singapore. I think you know this, right? So in fact, they invested 360 million just to refurbish a Park Royal Collection Hotel. So this is the one that right opposite of Brannigan Suites, just for information. Yeah, my guess is because they do know that upcoming there's TRX, right? So TRX is similar to Raffles Place. So that means there will be more economic activities coming in, more crowd, higher international exposure. So I also think that they probably think there will be a booster effect that will bring to Bukit Bintang also. So this is the reason why they invested here. Hopefully not for the sake of the currency exchange, yeah? Okay. Right, so last question. How do we choose or evaluate a good operator? Okay, I think we overshoot a bit already, but I'll try to finish off as soon as possible. So we all know about Airbnb operator and hotel service suites already, right? So the thing is, we gotta choose which one suits our project the best, okay? And then for those that are interested in hotel service property, things that you have to know is whether your operator have hotel licensing or not, and how experienced they are, whether they have an in-house operator or this is an outsourced operator, and lastly, about money, payment transparency. So these are the things that you have to pay extra care on this. Be cautious, be aware. Alright, but I think today's session we don't have enough time to cover already. But for those that are only interested in a short rent and hotel service suites, you can register our one-to-one discussion session. Alright, okay. So okay. See Mr. Lim, how to find the register button. Okay, no problem. Maybe I'll explain more about what does the one-to-one cover for this section. So we'll talk more about the experience of the operator itself, of course, and then whether this is an in-house or outsourced one, and then understand how transparent it is. But of course, Mr. Lim, don't worry, I will share a video with all of us and you can go through later. That will take about 1 to 2 minutes. Stay to the end, understand about it, so you'll get to know how to register our one-to-one session.
So in order for you to register the one-on-one private preview session is pretty simple. You can see on your right hand side there's a comment box here, and then at the bottom of it, right, you shall be able to see the green color small box stated click here for one-to-one. So you can just click on the button here, and sometimes when it doesn't pop up, right, it should be hiding somewhere. So you will be able to find the small arrow here pointing upwards at the bottom right. So you can click on it and then it shall be able to pop up. Alternatively, right, you also can see on your top here there's a yellow box stated register your one-to-one session here. So at the bottom of this line, right, you shall be able to see the blue color highlight. Just click on it, and then once you press continue, you'll be able to see the calendar like this one, and then you can just choose the date that you prefer. For example, you prefer Friday 30th of May, right? And then you can just choose the time available here. For example, you prefer 4 p.m. So you just press confirm. So once you press confirm, right, just wait for a while, about 3 to 5 seconds, you should be able to see this page. So once you see this page, right, it means that you already successful register your one-on-one sessions.
Alright, Mr. Lim, all good? Can find the button already, right? Okay, perfect. You're welcome, Mr. Lim. Okay, so Mr. Lim registered. Mr. Ang also with us already. Okay, Mr. Ui. Oh, same surname. Okay, welcome. I think from Northern Part 1, most likely. Is it, Mr. Ui? Okay, correct. Okay, all right. So see you all soon. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this webinar, in fact, give you a very informative information and an insight on all the overview in the KL property market. Yeah. So let's keep in touch. Anything, you can just reach out to either me or my partner Mike Lau via the one-to-one session. Yeah. All right. Have a good one. Goodbye.